Hare Krishna, brother. I think we can start. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Uh, my screen is visible or not?
Visible, Prabhu.
Okay. So today we will learn a new topic, Python errors and built-in exceptions. So while writing code in Python, we face a lot of errors and which are very type like syntax errors or logical errors. So we will now discuss uh, each one of them. Okay. So these errors are broadly classified into two classes: syntax errors and logical errors. Logical errors are also called exception. Okay, okay. So I will some PDF. This PDF is visible or not? Is it visible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So you can see. Uh, 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 First, what are exceptions? Exceptions are alert when something unexpected happens while running a program. It could be a mistake in the code or a situation that was not planned for. Python can raise the alerts automatically, but we can also take it using the reduce command. So, okay. Now, how are these exceptions different from errors? Okay. So, errors are usually big problems that come from the computer or the system. They often make the program stop working completely. On the other hand, exceptions are more like issues we can control. They happen because of something we did in our code and can usually fix so the program is good. Okay. So these are the broad, mainly the differences between errors and exceptions. You need to first know the difference before moving forward. Okay, so that's why I'm giving a detailed idea about it. First, you can see the origin. Errors are typically caused by the environment, hardware, or operating system. But the exceptions are the result of
Thanks, Prabhu.
problematic code execution within
Prabhu,
the program.
Prabhu, your
Uh,
screen is still on the VS Code tab.
yeah. uh, PDF visible नहीं है किसी को
No, no.
पूछा तो था ये अब है
Yes, not.
ओके सो विजिबल कभी नहीं हुई क्या अब तो मैंने जो पढ़ा अभी तक
अभी visible है.
तो I was reading from this PDF. So you can see here what are exceptions and what are errors. So exceptions are alert, or you can read it. I've read it once. So basically, the main point I want to raise the differences over exceptions different from errors. Exceptions are usually a result of problematic code execution within the program. Okay, when you write a code and when it doesn't execute, what are problems that maybe जो हो सकती है possibility वो सब इसमें आती है exceptions में. Errors are somewhat related to the environment, hardware, operating system. Errors are often severe and can lead to program classes of non-termination. ओके तो ये बहुत सीवियर चीज होती है एरर्स और रिसेप्शन सा लेस सीवियर और मतलब इनको सही कर सकते हैं हैंडलिंग वाला पार्ट है कैसे इनको हैंडल किया जाए कैसे कॉट तो ये सब यू कैन रीड इट ओके तो एक्सेप्शंस में जो मेनली एरर्स आती हैं वो क्या होती है जीरो डिवीजन एरर कि जीरो से डिवाइड कर दिया तो वो दिखाएगा या फिर फाइल नॉट फाउंड हम वो फाइल लेना चाहते हैं एक्सेस करना चाहते हैं तो है ही नहीं ठीक है तो वो होता है फाइल नॉट फाउंड एरर और कैटेगरी वाइज भी होता है जैसे अरिथमेटिक एरर हो गया input output error value error ठीक है these are the basic types okay so now I will discuss each one of them 1 minute. So VS Code वाला दिख रहा है अभी?
Yeah, VS Code is visible.
Okay, so first I am talking about syntax errors. Here you can see if I run it, I'm facing the syntax error. Syntax error, मतलब I miss the colon here, so obviously there is a problem in syntax. So this is syntax error. Here you can see if I run it, I face some problem. What is the problem? I have, this is also syntax error. Here I have missed the parenthesis part. Okay, this parenthesis I am missing here. So this is also syntax error. So these are the errors that you need to be careful of. Next part is the logical exceptions, which I have talked about in the PDF. तो इसमें जो मेनली एरर्स आती हैं वो होती है जीरो डिवीजन एरर. किसी नंबर को जीरो से डिवाइड कर दिया तो उसको रन करेंगे तो वो अपने आप से दिखा रहा है जीरो डिवीजन एरर, मतलब जीरो से गलत चीज है, वो पॉसिबल नहीं है. और एक आता है हमारा फाइल नॉट फाउंड एरर और इम्पोर्ट एरर. तो फाइल मतलब ऐसी चीज हम ओपन करना चाहते हैं जो सिस्टम में है ही नहीं, तो होता है फाइल नॉट फाउंड एरर. कभी कभी हो जाता है गलती से, तो वी नीड टू बी केयरफुल अबाउट दैट. और ये चीज, ये तो इम्पोर्ट है ना, हम ऐसी चीज इम्पोर्ट कर रहे हैं जो कि पॉसिबल है ही नहीं. जैसे यहाँ पे पावर लिखा है, अगर मैं पावर के पीडब्ल्यू लिख दूँ तो ये आई थिंक चल जाएगा, क्योंकि पावर जो है पावर नाम से पीडब्ल्यू नाम से सेव होता है, मतलब उस नाम से होता है वो, और हम पावर नाम से इसको एक्सट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं तो इम्पोर्ट कर रहे हैं, तो यहाँ पे ये एरर है. तो वी नीड टू बी केयरफुल अबाउट दैट कि यहाँ पे कुछ भी लिख दोगे तो उससे मत, फिर वो नहीं होगा, नहीं चलेगा, फिर एरर दिखाएगा. और उसके बाद है पाइथन नेम एरर. यहाँ पे हमने प्रिंट टेस्ट कर दिया, ये तो काफी कॉमन है. हम वो चीज प्रिंट करें तो हमारे पास मेमोरी में ही नहीं, तो दिखाएगा हमारे पास. ओके, अच्छा मैंने पहले इसमें कर दिया था. एक काम करते हैं, इसको करते हैं, यहाँ पे वापस ऐड कर देते हैं. और मैं कुछ नेम डालना चाहता हूँ, नेम समथिंग कुछ लाइक दिस. तो नेम मेरा दिखा रहा है क्योंकि नेम कुछ एडजस्ट करता ही नहीं है. अगर मैं इसको पहले डिफाइन कर दूं और फिर इसको रन करूं तो ऑब्वियसली आंसर जीरो देगा. तो फिर मैं इसको कुछ स्ट्रिंग भी दे दूं तो वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है हमारे पास. तो चल रहा है क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमने वो नहीं किया. ओके, सो ये चीज अगर हम भूल जाते, कभी हो जाता है कि हम ऐसी चीज यूज कर लेते हैं तो दिमाग में होती है पर वो लिखते नहीं है, तो ये चीज कॉमन है नेम एरर, कि हमने वो चीज किया जो हमारे पास पहले डिफाइन ही नहीं किया है, और नेम इज डिफाइन नहीं किया, हमने सीधा यूज कर लिया. तो ये सब एरर्स होती है. और फोर्थ पे इंडेक्स एरर, कि यहाँ पे हम कभी भी होता है जल्दी जल्दी में नेम नंबर 5 लिख दिए, हमारा मतलब था कि लास्ट में लिखना, लेकिन 5 एडिशन नहीं कर रहा है, तो कि जो नंबरिंग है वो 0 से 4 तक होती है. तो दिस इज अ टाइप ऑफ इंडेक्स एरर. और मॉड्यूल नॉट फाउंड, और लाइक इम्पोर्ट मैथ्स, इम्पोर्ट और मैथ्स करोगे तो आप पे मॉड्यूल दिखा रहा है, क्योंकि ऐसा मॉड्यूल एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता है. और मैथ्स करेंगे तो एग्जिस्ट ये करता है. तो दिस इज द राइट थिंग दैट वी नीड टू इम्पोर्ट. सो हियर यू कैन सी यू नीड टू बी केयरफुल अबाउट importing something. Next is Python attribute error. Attribute error. So when you import math, and now I'm writing math.py. So this pi is not something which is at this or exist नहीं करती मैथ में. तो जब तुम इसको रन करोगे तो यहाँ पे दिखाएगा एट्रीब्यूट एरर. दिस इज अ टाइप ऑफ एट्रीब्यूट एरर, मतलब ये एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता. यहाँ पे मुझे स्मॉल पी आई लिखना पड़ेगा, मुझे पाई को एक्सट्रैक्ट करना है तो. और जब मैंने एक्सट्रैक्ट किया तो पाइथन अंडरस्टूड है कि अपने प्रिंट हो जाता है. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे वी नीड टू बी केयरफुल कि हमें कैपिटल पी आई लिखना है, नहीं लिखना है. तो तुम गलती से कैपिटल स्मॉल लिखो जैसे केस सेंसिटिव होता है, तो यू नीड टू बी केयरफुल अबाउट दैट. तो जो एट्रीब्यूट एरर होता है ये चीज, कि हमने इंपोर्ट किया समथिंग, और वो जो हम एक्सट्रैक्ट करना चाहते हैं वो हमने वेरिएबल में नाउ स्पेलिंग कैपिटल स्मॉल कर दिया. और इधर की एरर, लाइक यहाँ यूजर्स हमने डिफाइन किया है, इसमें है ये नेम मिलन एज 96 कंट्री इंग्लैंड. फिर हमने समथिंग एक्सट्रैक्ट करना चाहते हैं नेम, नेम पे ये जो की इस पे कौन क्या लिखा हुआ है मिलन. ओके, तो ये हमारा सही है, लेकिन यहाँ पे काउंट ही करते हैं, तो ये इसमें है ही नहीं, मतलब की है ही नहीं यहाँ पे. तो तुम उसको एक्सट्रैक्ट कैसे यूज कर सकते हो. तो पहले मैं इसको रन करता हूँ, और तुम इसको जब रन करोगे तो यहाँ पे की एरर दिखा रहा है क्योंकि की है ही नहीं वहाँ पे. So this is something like a spelling mistake. So if I extract this, so I will get the answer. So this is a type of key error. व्हेन हम वो की एक्सट्रैक्ट करना चाहते हैं, की पे वैल्यू जो की है ही नहीं, तो दिस इज अ की एरर। ओके, नाउ पाइथन टाइप एरर। टाइप जैसे मैं देखा था, टाइप इन स्ट्रिंग ये सब होता है। तो आप पे 6+3 ये क्या है? ये एक इंटीजर नहीं है, दिस समथिंग स्ट्रिंग। सो मैं किसी दो अलग टाइप के जो वेरिएबल होते हैं उनको मैं ऐड कैसे कर सकता हूँ? इंट प्लस स्ट्रिंग कैसे कर दोगे? तो दैट इज ये जो ऐड होती है ये टाइप एरर में आती है। सो व्हेन आई विल सी और द टाइप एरर, so you know what I need to do. Okay, so Python value error. Value error is something when I'm specifying that it is an int, and then still I'm using the something which is not of that type. So जो अंदर लिखा हुआ है, ये जो लिखा है, ये जो है इंटीजर टाइप में नहीं आता है, ये स्ट्रिंग टाइप में आता है। तो हम उसको इंट लिख के लिखेंगे, तो ये जो एरर आएगी इसको बोलते हैं हम पाइथन वैल्यू एरर। सो इसके लिए क्या, हम इसको प्रॉपर टाइप में मैचिंग करना जरूरी है। जैसे यहाँ पे स्ट्रिंग है तो हम स्ट्रिंग में स्ट्रिंग से लिखना है। तो जो एरर आती है वो होते हैं वैल्यू एरर, क्योंकि हमने जो वैल्यू स्पेसिफाई कर रहा है उसके लिए ही नहीं, वो वैल्यू इंट की होनी चाहिए, हम स्ट्रिंग के डालने हैं। तो दिस इज अ थिंग द विच इज नोन एज वैल्यू एरर। और पाइथन है, पाइथन में कुछ बिल्डिंग एक्सेप्शंस पहले से होते हैं। ओके, सो यू कैन जस्ट read it out. SSN error, days where SSN fails, attribute error हमने देखा था अभी, फ्लोटिंग पॉइंट इंपोर्ट एरर हमने देखा अभी, इंडेक्स की एरर देखा। सो देयर आर लॉट दैट यू विल गेट, दैट यू विल ऑटोमेटिकली मिल जाएगा। जब तुम गलती करो तो मैं पता चल जाएगा कि मैं ये एरर कर रहा हूँ। जैसे मैंने ऐड किया तो पहले से वैल्यू एरर ऑटोमेटिकल।
Yes, Prabhu.
ओके, कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ गई थी। तो ठीक है, सो यू गेट अबाउट 10 टाइप ऑफ एरर्स। सो this was a basic introduction of the errors and exceptions, or basic errors that you get. So you can read it. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. Or otherwise, it was a simple, basic definition based presentation. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, I will probably continue. Or I think Sagar probably can continue from how to handle the.
Hare Krishna, is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Okay, so we'll move on with the next part. So here we'll see how we can handle exceptions in Python using try, except, and finally statement. So you have seen what are exceptions. So when an exception occurs, or basically an error occurs, you can see that the execution will stop at that point and it will report the error. You have seen the examples in the previous presentation. But what if we want to print an error message, but we need to continue the execution? That means we don't want to stop the program. Uh, we just, if there is an error, it should give us the error message and it should move on. So how can we do that? So that we can do that by using this try, except, and finally statement. So that is called exception handling. So let's see that. So So the syntax of try and except is that right, you write try and then a colon is used, and then similar to if else or for, you have to use the indentation, and this indicates that this is a part of try block. And then you have except. and then you have some statements in the except block. So what this means is, uh, in the try block, you write your actual code, which may cause some error or which may cause some exception. So if some exception occurs in the try block, then it will go to the except block and it will execute those statements. And then after exiting the except block, it will move on. It won't stop the program. So this is how you can handle the exceptions in Python. So you can see that what kind of a error is this? What kind of error is this? Can anyone say? Just now we have seen this.
Type error.
Yeah. So we have a type error here. We don't want to stop the program here. It should just tell us that there is an error and it should proceed. So we are going to write it in this way. So now you can see that it prints this error message. It doesn't give an error, or so if you write something after this, you can see that it is executing this one. Although there was an error here, it is not stopping the program execution. So so you can see that this is what is the use. This is how we handle exceptions. So if you just write this, you will see that it will stop the program and give you the error. It's a type error. So uh, so you can you can handle other exceptions in a similar way. For example, uh, here we are seeing the error. Here we have a list, random list A02, and we are, and this is our actual code in the try block. So I'm printing the entry and I'm taking r is equal to 1 by int of the entry. That means what is this int? Can anyone say what is this? If you have done assignment one, you can say. What is this? What does this mean, int entry?
It's typecasting.
Typecasting.
Yeah. So we are uh, so we are converting the given this entry into integer type. So I hope we know this also, right? Entry in random list. In is a membership operator. So for entry in random list, meaning it will take one element from random list, execute once again. So this is how the for loop works. So again, it will go to the next element and so on. So each entry, if it is, it will be converted to int type, and then it will try to divide it. So you can see that. Uh, can anyone say when this is the value of entry A, what is the error that occurs here? What is the error that occurs there? It's it's value error, right? You saw now, like if you try to convert this to int, you get value error, right? So so basically, if you're trying to convert a string into int, the inside part should be an integer only. So now if you do this, you will not get an error. This is valid. You'll get 12. So if there is some alphanumeric thing, then you'll get an error because that is the resultant cannot be an integer. So when you try to divide, when you try to do this int uh, a of this, you'll get a value error. And for the when it is 0, you will not have any problem with converting into int, but we have a problem, that is division by 0. Division by 0 is also not possible. So yeah, so division by 0 is also not possible. So we'll get uh, error or exception in both of these cases. So uh, So we'll see what happens. So in the first iteration, we have A. We'll get the value error here. So it goes to the except block and it will print, oops, we'll discuss what this is, and it will print these things. And again, it will go to the next iteration. Now entry is 0. Again, we get a division by 0 error. Then it comes here, does this thing, and again goes. And for 2, this will be valid 1 by 2, it will be 0.5, and then it is break. What is break? What is break?
It will discontinue from, like, it will exit from the for loop.
Yeah, I think only one person is answering. Others also should answer. Okay. Okay, so we'll see the output here. So you can see that these things are printed for the first 2 cases, and for 2 it works properly and we'll get 0.5. So what is this? So we have imported this module sys, and this is exception info. There is a function called exception info. So you need not worry much about this. So this will give the information about the exception which occurred. So here we got the value error, and here we got a 0 division error. Class means every exception uh, is basically characterized by a class, you can say. So the value error is handled by the class value error. So in that way you can understand it. So I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear. Okay, so we can also write it in this way. Like in the except part, you can write exception as E. So exception is also a class. It is a base class for all these value error class, zero division error class. So these are all subclasses of that exception class. So don't worry much about it. So you just know it is some class, and except exception as E. So this will be an object of that class, and you can get the information about that class similar to the above case. So by using this one. So um, you can see this except thing. So for any exception, if no matter what exception occurs here, it will go to the except block. Similarly, here also the same thing happens. Um, but here you can get the information about the exception which actually occurred by using this object E. Um, so here you'll get, we don't require we don't require to import sys here. We don't need to import this thing because we have not used it. So you can do it without the sys, and you can do many other things with this object. Also, this exception class does not it does not handle base exceptions. You can just remember this. Don't worry about this. Just know that base when a base exception occurs in here, it doesn't go into this block. But in the previous case, even if base exception occurs here, it goes to this block. So base exception is a parent class of exception. You can, those who are interested can read more about it, but no problem. We are just trying to illustrate what is try and what is accept. So here is one more example. So here I hope everybody has learned what is input from the first assignment, how to use input and how to do things. So some name, then so you can see that there is an exception, something went wrong. What was the problem here? What was the error due to which it came to the except block? Can anyone say? Those who are answering, don't answer. New persons, please answer. At least write if you cannot unmute.
Type error.
What was the type error?
Year one would be saved as a string.
Yes. So, from the input, you always get a string type. If you want an integer, you need to typecast it using int. I hope like this. I hope everyone is aware of this. So, so you get the exception here because you are trying to subtract an integer from a, you are trying to subtract a string from an integer, and then so you get the error. Does everybody understand what is this f, and does everybody know how what does this mean or how to use this type of syntax for print? Here f stands for format. So format meaning whatever is in the curly braces, it will substitute the value of the corresponding variable here. So if there was no exception here, you can see the output. So you can see the output. You are, the name is substituted here and the age is substituted here. You can also write this same thing using dot format. So you can write it this in this way as well. The same output is there here. So this dot format also works in a similar way. Wherever there is a curly braces, it will substitute the value of the variable. This is just like percentage %d you are using in C. So in the same order. So the first curly brace will be substituted by name and then age here. So you can use either of these two things to format your output. So so we have seen that try and except block. So no matter what exception occurs here, it will go to the except block. But this is not a very good practice because when the print when it prints something went wrong, you will not know what exactly was the error which occurred here. So no matter what error occurs, it will print the same thing because you have written only one except block. So for all errors, it will print the same thing. So you don't know where is the error and what exactly the error occurred. So you can write different except blocks for different types of error. So except type error, except value error, except zero division error. So when type error occurs here, it will go to this block and print this one. And in the value error similarly, so whichever error occurs, it will print the corresponding one. You can you can also write multiple errors in the same except block in this form like a tuple. Not only two, you can write any number of errors within one except block in the form of a tuple. That means enclosed in parentheses and separated by comma. So this is just to illustrate. And uh, does does anyone know what is the usage of pass? So pass is a keyword. It is we are not allowed to keep empty blocks in Python, empty bodies in Python. That means you cannot keep an empty body. Um, meaning you cannot keep the blocks empty here. So in that case we write pass. If you want to actually keep it empty, then we just write pass. Pass in the sense it just treats like an empty block, it just moves on. So pass means it does nothing. So you can so we have seen try and accept. We have seen different accept blocks for different errors, and how to write uh, the same accept block for more than one error. So if you write this accept block will be if you write after this, if you write only accept, it means all other exceptions apart from value error, type error, and zero error will come here. So you can voluntarily purposefully raise exceptions in Python by using the raise keyword. So raise keyboard interrupt will purposefully give you the exception keyboard interrupt. So although there was not error, it is you are raising that exception on your own by purpose. So you can do this by raise keyword. So you can do memory error and many things. So all types of exceptions you can do. So you can see in the try except block also you can do it. Like in try you are inputting any positive integer, and if it is not positive integer, you are raising the value error purposefully to indicate that it's not a positive integer. So when you raise the value error, it will come to the except block and it will print the VE. So VE is a object of type value error class, object of class value error, and you are printing that object. So here if I enter a negative number, so it prints. So when it raises the value error, it prints the message that is passed here. That is not a value error. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So when it, yeah, 1 second. So you can see that it is raising the value error when I pass a negative number, and it is coming to the except block where I'm printing the type of VE. So type of VE is of class value error. So I hope that is clear. So type of VE is of class value error because as I told you, VE is an object of class value error. So next we'll see another one keyword, that is else. So else is nothing but if you have some statements which you have to execute only if there was no exception, then you can use the else block. So you can write try except, so you can write as many number of except blocks you want. Later you can write else. The colon is everywhere important to indicate the blocks, and the indentation is also important. So the else is executed only if there is no exception in the try block. Uh, that means none of these exceptions were executed. So the else block is executed only when there is no exception. You can see the example here. We are going to see what is this open and how to open files, etc. But for now, you can just understand that there is no exception here. It is opening the file and it is writing this sentence into the file. So there is no exception here. So the else block is executed and we get written content in the file successfully. And then we are closing the file. So similarly, if we want to print the reciprocal of even numbers, so it is taking input from the user. If I enter an odd number, then it will go, then it will get an, so then it will take the number is equal to 3, and it will assert whether this is an even number. Sum mod 2 is 0, meaning it's an even number. Assert meaning it will check if there is, if this condition is true. If it is not true, it will raise an exception. It will raise an exception. That is basically assertion error. In the previous Ansh Prabhu's slides, you can see that there is, in the table it is there, the assertion error. So when the assert condition is false, it will raise an exception. Therefore, it goes to the except block, and you will get not an even number. But if you pass an even number, the exception will not be raised, and you will get the reciprocal is equal to 1 by num, and you'll get print reciprocal. What happens if I pass a letter A? Can anyone say what happens now? What happens now? Anyone?
Not an even number.
No, here the exception occurs here itself, right? It cannot convert into int. So again, it goes to the except block. So yeah. So basically, it prints not an even number. So what happens if I pass 0?
Gives value error.
No, it gives division by 0 error, right? So here it converts it into 0, and 0 mod 2 is 0. So this condition will be true. It will go to the else, and here it is 1 by num, 1 by 0. So in the else block, if there is an error, there is nothing to handle it. So this try except is over. The try, there was no exception here, so it came to else. So if an exception occurs here, then it cannot handle it. It will just give the error like before. So it gives a 0 division error. I hope this is clear. So you can see this 3 cases here. And then there is one more keyword, that is finally. So finally is used to execute some piece of code irrespective of what happened in the try block, whether there was an exception or not. Finally will always be executed. So it is uh, just like marking an end to the this try except and else these blocks. So basically it's like a conclusion of the entire exception handling. So if you do this, so you get it opens the file and writes the file, and it prints can't find file or read data. So basically this will always be executed no matter what happens in the try. A better example, we'll see a better example to so that it will be clear to you. So you can see this. We have already seen the different types of errors: type error, value error, and zero division error when you are trying to give some inputs. So let's cause an error. So if I just put A, you know here the error occurs here, and you get the type error here. So we are expecting a type error, and we'll see what it prints. Sorry, here I entered a number in the year, so it is not an error. So it printed the name and age, and finally it printed I always run. I always run. So you can see the finally block was executed here. So if I create an error, you can see that a value error occurred here. So a value error occurred because it was not able to convert A into int here. So a value error occurred, but still you can see that the finally block was executed and it printed I always run. So finally is executed no matter what happens in the exception part. So this is basically a same thing except exception as E. You can experiment with this. So here E is an object and print A will print this thing. So basically it is telling that it is an invalid literal for int with base A. This is a value error. You can check what is that, whether it's actually a value error or not by using type. Okay. I hope handling exceptions is clear now. Try, except, else, and finally. So all the keywords which we discussed are present in this example. I hope everybody understood these 4 keywords. So next we are going to packing and unpacking arguments in Python. So we have 2 operators, star for tuples and double star for dictionaries. So what is packing and unpacking? Suppose you have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you want to pass the elements of this list as an argument to this function. I hope we have discussed functions yesterday and everybody knows how to call functions, how to pass arguments to functions. So I want to pass the 5 elements of this list as 5 arguments to this function. So how will I do that? If I simply pass the list, then it will be only one argument which I am passing to A here. So when you try to do this, you will get type error saying that uh, this function is missing 4 required positional arguments B, C, D, and E. So this is like passing only one argument, that is the entire list, to A, and these 4 arguments are not passed. So this is not what we want. What we want is to pass each element of the list to these 5 variables. So how can I do that without using a loop or something? I can do that by simply adding a star here. So this star LST means I'm unpacking the list. So the star LST will be equivalent to writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separately. So unpacking means it opens the list and then passes the arguments. So you can see now it runs properly and it gives the sum of A plus B plus C plus D plus E. Similarly, you can use the unpacking in the range also. So the normal way of using range is 2 comma 7. You know this. In for loops we have seen for I in range and so on. So I hope everyone remembers this. So range 2 comma 7 means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 is not included. So I have a list containing 2 numbers here, 2 comma 7, and I can pass it to range by using star. So the star args is equivalent to writing 2 comma 7. You cannot simply write args because then it will be only one argument you are passing the list. We don't want to pass a list, we want to pass the elements of the list discrete, like separately. So this will be valid and you will get the expected result. So here why are we getting a list? Because we have typecasted the numbers. So range will give us numbers from 2 to 6, and this list will convert it into a list. So we get list here, and here we are printing the numbers. So we get this. So this range will return a, you can say it's a range object. You can check the type of numbers as well. So type of numbers is range, class range. So it's a range object. So when you print numbers, it is showing you that it is a range object corresponding to the interval 2 comma 7. That means that actually means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. when you use in a for loop or in other cases. So similarly, you can use it for tuple as well. Here there is some another interesting application of this unpacking. So suppose you have a list having 5 countries um, uh, in a list. So you want to assign each of these countries to 5 variables. In fact, 4 variables. So if you write in this way, fin, sw, nor, and star rest is equal to countries. So it will assign the first element of the list to fin, second element to sw, third element to nor, and star rest meaning the remaining elements. Uh, so the remaining elements will be packed into rest, or um, rest is a list that is unpacked. So star rest is equivalent to, this is just like writing rest of 0, rest of 1. So the star rest was equivalent to writing this. So Denmark will be put in rest of 0 and Iceland will be put to rest of 1. So it is it behaves in that way. So star rest is equal to country. So you'll get, so rest will become a list having these two things in it. Similarly, you can write, if you have 7 numbers and you want to do like this, 1 comma star middle comma last numbers, then what do you expect? 1 is stored in 1, 7 is stored in last, and these 5 numbers are stored as a list in middle. So you can see the output. Similarly, you can unpack dictionaries by using double star. So you have a dictionary, name, Milan, country, England, city, London, and age 96. So you are calling this function unpacking person info, and you are passing the unpacked dictionary. So star star is required for unpacking of dictionary. For list or tuple, it is star. So star star dictionary, meaning it will pass the, after unpacking the dictionary, that means it will pass Milan, England, London, and 96. And again, we know this for f string, this f. Uh, I hope everybody understood that what is the purpose of this f. It will put the variable values in the corresponding curly braces. So this is a return statement, although not a print statement, but it works in the same way. So packing. So similar to unpacking, we have packing. So suppose we have a function sum all to find the sum of all the arguments which are passed. So you don't know how many arguments are being passed. We want to use this function for any number of arguments. If I want to add 2 numbers, I want to use this function. If I want to add 3 numbers, then also I want to use this function. So you in C, what you have to do, you have to define 2 functions with 2 parameters and 3 parameters respectively. So you cannot use the same function for different number of parameters. But in Python, you can do it easily by using packing list. That means you can just write star args. So this will accept any number of arguments as a list. So if you pass 3 arguments, it will take it as a list of 3 arguments. If you pass 7 arguments, it will take it as a list of 7 arguments. So that is why in for loop you are using in this way, I in args. So this is how we deal with a list, right? So you can in fact check the type of list. You have to be careful about indentation. So here it was printed. You can see, I'm sorry, it was not a list, it's a tuple. So uh, it accepts the number of whatever the number of arguments you give it as a tuple, and you use the tuple also in the same way. I hope everybody knows this. Both you can use the same type of for I in args for tuple as well as list. So these arguments will be taken together, will be packed into one tuple and will be treated as a tuple. So So this is how you can uh, play with different things and do many things easily in Python. Similarly, you can, okay, does anybody have some doubt? Okay, so similarly, you can pack dictionaries. So here I'm calling this function packing person info, and I'm passing these things. So you note the important thing here, we are using equal to, unlike colon in an actual dictionary. So when you are actually passing these kind of things here, you need to use equal to. So you pass any number of such pairs, it will accept this as a dictionary. Okay. So KWARGS will behave as a dictionary with these as the corresponding key and value. You can pass any number of pairs, and this will work for any number of pairs which you pass here. So again, similar thing can be used for a dictionary for key in KWARGS. So for key in this, again we are using a format string. So the F prefix, so which will put the values here, and then you can see the output. So similarly, you can use the star within a list as well. So you have two lists, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7. You want to create another list by using 0, and I want to put here 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7. So I will unpack this one, and I'll get 1, 2, 3, and I'll unpack this one, I'll get 4, 5, 6, 7. So can anyone say what happens if I don't use this star? Does it give an error, or what happens? Yeah, it is correct. So basically you will be creating a nested list in that case. So this will be an element of a list. It is not an error. So you are making this list as an element of this list. But here our aim is to bring the elements here. That is why I'm unpacking the list here. So similarly, you can see this example as well. You can see the output as well. It is as expected. You can also use another one very interesting built-in function, that is enumerate. This will give you the index as well. Suppose you are iterating through a list and you want the index as well. So you can do like this: for index comma item in enumerate list. Instead of just for item in this list, you can add index comma item in enumerate the list. So it will give 0 and 20 in the first iteration, then 1 and 30 in the next iteration, then 2 and 40, and so on. So you can see the output here: 0, 20, 1, 30, and 240. Similarly here, I guess here we missed the format strings. That is why you can see this is not correctly printed. So now you can see it is substituting the correct values, and you get here. There is one more interesting function, that is zip. So if you have two lists, fruits and vegetables, and you want to create another list, fruits and veggies, you can write it in this way: for f comma v in zip fruits comma vegetables, fruits and veggies dot append. So it will take banana and tomato in the first iteration, and it will append it to this. So what is it appending? It is appending a what is this? This is a dictionary, right? Enclosed within curly braces, and we have this key, we have this value. So this is a list, fruits and veggies is a list, and each element of that is a dictionary of this type. So we are appending it into this. So basically the function of zip is uh, to loop through two lists simultaneously. So you can see that we get a list where each element is a dictionary of fruit, veggie, fruit, and vegetable in that way. I hope this is clear. So we have completed errors and exceptions and unpacking and packing. So does anybody have any doubt in today's lecture? I think we better change this here. Anybody have any doubt? Okay, only 12 people have completed assignment 1. So please complete it. It is a good practice for you as well. And soon there will be a programming contest also. It is good for you to practice. I have also shared the hacker rank link some few days before. So so you can practice from there as well. We'll be releasing assignment 2 also. So assignment 2 also will be mostly programs. Uh, those who have just started programming, like is the assignment 1 very easy or very difficult? For others it will be very easy, I know. But okay, had a doubt in perimeter problem, couldn't understand the approach. Okay, you can contact me personally. You can DM me. Okay. Okay, I was asking one question to those who have started programming right now, or those was assignment 1 very easy or very tough, or it was okay. In the programming contest, we will keep some good questions as well. So those who have prior experience also can spend some time and properly do it. Okay, in assignment 2, we'll keep slightly better questions so that those who have just started programming also will be exposed to better questions. And yesterday also, I guess some questions were discussed. Anas Prabhu, would you like to add anything about that?
Yeah, I have came to know that सारे लोग हैं कि इतने एक्टिव नहीं है, मतलब क्लास में भी बस 2-3 लोग जवाब दे रहे हैं, बाकी सब लोग कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहे। तो जिसको नहीं आता एटलीस्ट अटेंटिव रहो, कुछ तो जवाब दो। अगर गलत बोल दो तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, वी विल करेक्ट इट, पर एटलीस्ट एक्टिव रहो। इससे मैंने 4 क्वेश्चन दिए थे होमवर्क में, मुझे पता है 19 में से 10 लोग भी नहीं किए होंगे, पर एटलीस्ट अटेम्प्ट तो करो। जैसे फैक्टोरियल का 2 क्वेश्चन तो वो तो इजी था। अ, और पैरामीटर वाला क्वेश्चन मैंने बस चुन के दिया था, उसका एक फॉर्मूला भी था जो मैंने बाद में पोस्ट किया था ग्रुप पे। तो यू कैन सी वो हर बार पॉसिबल नहीं कि फॉर्मूला मिल जाए, लेकिन इस बार है तो जिसको पता है वो जल्दी कर लेगा। सो ये चीज है, तो एक्टिव रहो थोड़ा। जो हम लोग बहुत बेसिक से पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो कोई इसमें इशू नहीं आना चाहिए कि ये नहीं आ रहा। डाउट है तो ऑब्वियसली पूछो, लेकिन बस पीछे मत रह जाना, क्योंकि 1 हफ्ता हो चुका है और 7 डेज में और तुमने ज्यादा बेनिफिट नहीं लिया तो फिर प्रॉब्लम होगी। और इतना स्मूथली इतने अच्छे से कवर कोई नहीं करता। तो एक्टिव रहो, डाउट पूछो, और काफी लोगों ने पर्सनल डाउट पूछते हैं और पता नहीं कुछ लोग एक्टिव नहीं है। वी विल सी, जो भी प्रोग्रामिंग कॉन्टेस्ट हम बता देंगे। अभी पहले करके जो 4 क्वेश्चन थे उसमें से 3 तो इजी थे, सेकंड वाला टफ था। तो आई विल, मैं बस सेकंड क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करूंगा बस। और सागर प्रभु 3 से अपना बंद कर लिया। Am I not the co-host? I am the viewer. So you can see here this parameter problem. The basic the screen visible तो है ना सबको? Someone please reply. Visible है कि नहीं screen? ओके, तो जो सेकेंड जो फॉर्मूला ये था कि जब एन इवन पैरामीटर इवन होता है ना, तो उस केस में एन स्क्वायर बाय 48 जो नंबर है वो उसका आंसर होता है। जैसे एन स्क्वायर बाय 48 है, अगर ये तुम्हारा किसी इंटीजर से पॉइंट ऐसे मान लो 47.5 आता है, 0.5 प्लस, तो उसमें हम 48 लेंगे, और 0.5 से छोटा आएगा तो हम नीचे लेते हैं। तो वही है। और अगर एन पैरामीटर तुम्हारा ऑड आता है तो उसमें एन प्लस थ्री का स्क्वायर बाय 48 लेते हैं। और सेम चीज़, अगर 0.5 से बड़ा है तो बड़ा इंटीजर, छोटा छोटा इंटीजर। बस इतना लॉजिक था, तो मैंने वही सेकेंड इसी लॉजिक में था। और अगर तुम इसे जनरल निकालना चाहो कैसे निकालोगे, तो इसमें जनरल मैटर ये था कि हमें स्टार्ट करते लिखना इंटीजर से, जैसे वन वन दिस, वन टू दिस। तो इसमें वही था कि आई वन से स्टार्ट हो रहा है, और जो दूसरा नंबर जो आएगा जे, वो वन से बड़ा आएगा। जैसे वन वन है तो या तो वन के इक्वल आए तो वन से बड़ा आएगा, वन वन समथिंग, वन टू समथिंग, टू डॉट और डॉट। ठीक है, तो इसमें मैं तुम्हें दिखाता हूँ, इसमें प्रिंट भी कर सकते हैं हम लोग। So you will get all the possible pairs also. So this is the basic method that तुमको स्ट्राइक करना चाहिए कि बेसिक मेथड क्या है। हम लिखना स्टार्ट करते हैं पॉसिबल पेयर्स को, वन वन हो गया, फिर वन टू हो गया, इस तरह से। ठीक है, तो मैंने वही किया कि यहाँ पे जो जे है वो वन से स्टार्ट होगा, मतलब आई से स्टार्ट होगा, और आई जो वन से स्टार्ट हो रहा है। और यहाँ पे एन बाई टू प्लस वन जैसे लिया, क्योंकि ये केस आता है जैसे 51 है, तो इसमें एक आएगा 125 26, नहीं 125 25। हाँ ये पॉसिबल है, 125 25, तो उसमें क्या होगा, 51/2 होता है, 25 आ जाएगा। ठीक है, तो 25 में 25 कंसिडर नहीं होगा, इसलिए मैंने प्लस वन किया था ताकि वो, और 25 भी कंसिडर होगा क्योंकि एन डबल, इसका मतलब है कि 25 नहीं होना चाहिए, लेकिन 25 में चाहिए, इसलिए मैंने यहाँ पे प्लस वन किया था। तो इस तरह एल्गोरिदम था। अब इसके काफी मेथड हो सकता है करने के, इसमें तीन लूप से बताया था। और क्या एक और मेथड था, तो हाँ एक ही वाला मेथड भी है। इसमें वही है कि फॉर लूप लगा रहे हैं, सी इक्वल टू माइनस बी, और जब सी लेस देन बी ये ब्रेक कर दिया, क्योंकि हम जो सी लेंगे, जैसे बी ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू ए होगा, सी ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू बी होना चाहिए, और ऐसे हम लिखते हैं उस तरह से। तो उस टाइप का ये भी है। ठीक है, तो अप्रोचेस बहुत सारी होती है, लेकिन हमें सबसे पहले बेसिक्स से स्टार्ट करो। बेसिक्स से, जैसे ये जनरल क्वेश्चन किया था मैंने, इसमें सबसे पहले जनरल पर्पस लगाओ कि हम कैसे लिखेंगे उसको। पैरामीटर है तो बहुत तीन तीन वेरिएबल में पता नहीं, तीनों में चेक करना है। तो पहले बेसिक स्टार्ट करो कि वन वन से स्टार्ट करते हैं, फिर वन टू पे आएंगे। उसी तरह जैसे यहाँ पे तुम वन वन से स्टार्ट करो 51 के लिए, तो वन वन से लेके तुम्हें मिलेगा ही नहीं, तुम एट देन 25 पे मिलेगा। तो वन से 24 तक मिला नहीं, छोड़ देते हैं, 24 पॉसिबल नहीं मिला, पर ठीक है कोशिश करो आगे। तो द मेन थिंग इज टाइम, ये होता है फर्स्ट टाइम इतना अप्रोच नहीं, स्ट्राइक नहीं होता है कैसे करें, गंदा क्वेश्चन है। पर एटलीस्ट फर्स्ट टाइम होता है, फिर प्रोग्राम असाइनमेंट अपने देंगे हम लोग, उसमें तो काफी लगेगा कि छोड़ देते नहीं बन रहा है, तो कोडिंग में ऐसे ही होता है। मेरे साथ भी हुआ था कि क्वेश्चन नहीं बनता है, छोड़ देना चाहिए, पर छोड़ते नहीं है ना, क्योंकि डे के टाइम नहीं होता छोड़ देते क्या, डे के टाइम कंटिन्यू किए थे ना कि करने निकालने। तो वही है। और पाइथन ऐसा है कि तुम आगे प्रोजेक्ट लोगे तो प्रॉप पूछता है कि पाइथन आता है नहीं आता। मैं और सागर लेने गए थे तो बोले पाइथन आता ही नहीं आता। तो फर्स्ट थिंग है, पाइथन इज वेरी बेसिक लैंग्वेज, तो यू नीड टू नो बेसिक थिंग्स ऑफ दैट। और सिंपल क्वेश्चन है। इन इन केस ऑफ एसी, एसी वन में जो पर उनको पता है कि ये तो उनके लिए बहुत बेसिक टाइप क्वेश्चन है। तो यूनिटी में एक्टिव, ऑल्सो एफर्ट डालो, और बाकी जो क्वेश्चन तुमने कोड दे दिया था तो वो कर लो। तो एफर्ट डालो, टाइम दो। हम दिन में बस 1 घंटा पढ़ाते हैं, बाकी टाइम ऑल द टाइम। तो एटलीस्ट जितना टाइम दे सकते हो, तो मतलब जितना समझ में आने के लिए वो है। कुछ लोग को आता है तो वो आधा घंटे में निकाल देंगे पूरा, कुछ लोग को 4-5 घंटा लगेगा, तो एक सप्ताह भी उतना टाइम तो मैं देता हूँ। और पाइथन में बहुत काफी आराम से फिर से पढ़ा लो। और हमारे पास 3-3 लोग के, ताकि एक बंदे से ही ना हो कि कोई बंदा ऐसा है कि और छोड़ने मन कर रहा है, बोर्ड हो गया, नहीं। प्रॉपर स्लोली आराम से पढ़ाते हैं, तो एक्टिव रहो थोड़ा। ये बुट कैंप से मेनली बेनिफिट तुम लोग के लिए है, तो प्रॉपर से बेनिफिट उठाओ। अभी मैं वैसे भी 1 दिन पीछे चल रहा है, 7 दिन हो गए, मैं 6 दिन के कवर किए हैं बस। तो हमें वैसे ही स्ट्रीम पर स्लो किया हमने। और लगता है कि हिंदी इंग्लिश प्रॉब्लम है तो बोल दो, हमारा थोड़ा हिंदी ज्यादा बोल दो, हिंदी में ज्यादा वो स्पोक करेंगे। जैसे कुछ लोग को होता है कि ज्यादा इंग्लिश में प्रॉब्लम आती है, तो यू कैन स्पीक, यू कैन बोल दो उसको प्रॉपर। ओपन रहो, मतलब दो तरफा होना चाहिए। तो यू यू नीड टू टेक मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट आउट ऑफ इट, द मेन थिंग इज दैट। ओके। और भी कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है तो बता दिया करो। अभी आप तो, अब हम लोग सॉल्व करेंगे ना, तो ये सब देख लो, कोई एफर्ट डाल दो, नहीं हो रहा है तो बताओ ये ऐसा है, नहीं आ रहा है, तो फिर सॉल्व दैट इशू। और प्रॉपरली अटेम्प्ट करो असाइनमेंट्स को। असाइनमेंट में तो बेसिक था, असाइनमेंट 2 से तो थोड़ा अच्छे क्वेश्चन आएंगे। वी नीड टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट। जितने भी कोलैब मिले सबको प्रॉपर पढ़ो अच्छे से, क्योंकि टाइम लगता है समझने में, नई नई चीजें हैं, थोड़ा ऑब्वियसली टाइम लगता है जो नया बंदा है। कुछ लोग पाइथन पढ़ जाते तो दे हैव, उनको आसानी से समझ आ जाएगा, बट जिनका फर्स्ट टाइम उनको प्रॉब्लम आएगी, तो देखो तुम्हें कितना एफर्ट देना पड़ा, तो इट इज सब टू यू। ओके। मैं फोर्स नहीं कर रहा, पर पाइथन ऐसा है कि सबको आना चाहिए, तो इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ प्रैक्टिस। ग्रुप में भी बस 1-2 बंदा पूछता है, बाकी सब पता नहीं क्या कर रहे हैं। घर में गए हो ऑब्वियसली मजे करो, लेकिन 2-3 घंटे तो कैसे दे सकते हो ना, मतलब ये सब चीजों। और ठीक है, तो भी रेगुलर मैं ही बोलूँ। स्टार्टिंग में 30 आते तो 16-19 ऐसे बच्चे आ रहे हैं, आधी क्लास साफ हो गई, पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है। ठीक है, तो भी रेगुलर पेशेंट हो, नहीं आ रहा तो पेशेंस रखो, आ जाएगा धीरे धीरे, टाइम करो, आ जाएगा। टाइम दो, पूछो हम लोग से। हम 3-3 लोग हैं, किसी को भी तुम पकड़ सकते हो। ओके।
Also,
ये
everyone
हम
do
पर
the
वैसे।
assignment. Everyone do the assignment because it will help you become comfortable with Python. Although you may know everything very easily, but when you write the code, actually, when you write the answer, actually, it will make you more comfortable with Python. You will get familiar with it. So do the assignment, although even if you feel it's easy or something. Okay, we'll end the session. If there
आसान चीज से छोड़ते थे ना, वही बता। मेन तो आसान तो छोड़ दी था, क्या पूरा डीएन तभी की लाना है, तो वही होता है, आसान चीज छोड़नी नहीं चाहिए, आसान चीज करके हटा दो बस, खत्म। इफ यू फेस इजी थी तो उसको करके हटा दो, खत्म। कम टाइम लगेगा, अच्छी बात है। जिसको टफ लग रहा है वो ज्यादा है एफर्ट डाले, वो उसका है कि वो पहले नहीं आता उसको, तो उसका लेकिन टाइम देना चाहिए, तो आपको दो। पाइथन तो एटलीस्ट आना चाहिए सबको। ओके।
Okay, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।